All right. Hello and welcome to the second episode of Gym Rants. It's been a while. Apologies. And this episode is going to be about PEDs. Some call it steroids, some call it gear, some call it juice. I don't know if there are any other slang words for it, but probably is. For me, it's been more than 10 years of working out and in my long fitness journey so far. PEDs was always an hot topic, and I don't see it not being a hot topic in the foreseeable future as well. So that's why I would like to talk about it in this small rant. I'm doing all of this in one take, so if I stutter and if there are any awkward pauses, apologies. Um, First, I would like to mention that with all transparency, that I have never used any PEDs. I'm currently not using any PEDs, and if in the future, for any reason, that I start using PEDs, that I will be totally transparent about it and totally talk about it here and share my journey and change here. I don't see it in the foreseeable future, but you never know with life. And this is a decision that I cannot give on my own because I have people in my social circle that I am committed to, and I would like to talk about something like this with them. And this brings me to the topic that this video is not going to be me talking about the scientific, physiological, or psychological aspects or side effects of steroids, or if I believe that you should be using it or not, what are the correct dosages or something. This is not going to be a technical video. This is going to be more a discussion-based rant that I believe as a community that we should have and we should agree on. So when someone asks me about this topic, I always say I'm not using it. However, my suggestion is that if you are planning to use it, think about it really well. Talk with your loved ones, talk with doctors, talk with people that are experienced in this field. And if you were to ask me, if this is not your professional career and this is not the route that you're planning to go towards, then don't. But for example, since as I'm a strongman and I'm doing it professionally to a degree, and strongman is a branch that doesn't have a clear set of rules when it comes to PEDs. People think that it is allowed in strongman. Yes, it is allowed, but it is not encouraged. And I'm pretty sure there are competitions and organizations that are organizing events and competitions that are drug-free and tested. Just because there is no rule about this doesn't mean there are no rules in strongman whatsoever. It's just that when it comes to PEDs, there is no clear set of guidelines. They're not encouraging you to use it. They're also not telling you don't use it. They're just not talking about it. And you can do whatever you want with that information. It's up to you. And it is true that strongman is not as strict when it comes to other sports, team sports, individual sports, when it comes to PEDs. It's just the nature of strongman itself. But I still feel like it is a discussion that we should be having and educating ourselves on. And I have two different perspectives when I'm looking to these topics. First is the perspective of an audience that is developing, learning, looking up to certain people, and is still in an early phase in their career. And the second perspective that I look is people that are professionals in this field, people that have been here for a while. And when I look at it from the perspective of an audience, because I was also there when I was in my high school years, it was so easy to look at someone that is extremely impressive and say, ah, he's probably in juice, it doesn't matter anyways. And just put the blame on that person and just to cover my own insecurity in some magical sense, undermine the other person's success. So first, I would like to put it out there that PEDs is not a magical formula. It is not a magical wand. It still requires in combination a lot of effort and is probably requiring more effort than someone that is just in their fitness journey. And because you have to combine quite a lot of things. First, it's money, and then it's sleep, it's recovery, it's food, it's exercising, it's doctors, it's regular checkups. And as I said, it is not a magical formula. There are so many people, with all due respect, that are on PEDs that are not as strong as me in many lifts. And that's totally fine because I still believe 80% of this sport comes from genetics. And thank God that I'm genetically blessed when it comes to this. But the problem is, people still think that this is a magical formula, and when you use it, you're just 10 times better than everyone else, and you have an unfair advantage. Well, perhaps if you're a really gifted individual, like let's say Thor or Eddie Hall, and you're extremely gifted, and when you use these type of things, it's just, yeah, can be an unfair playing field. I totally agree, but this is again a population that is outliers. You don't have so many Eddie Halls or you don't have so many tours running across the streets. And in your regular gyms as well, I'm pretty sure you don't. If you do, great, but I don't think so. So this still requires a lot of sacrifices in your life to come to the level where you are. You cannot just start using PEDs and expect everything to be amazing in your life and you just tower over everyone else. It's it's not it's not like that. It's basically not like that. So first of all, people should get out of that mindset as to when they see someone really strong, the first instinct is to undermine the other people's success by saying, "Oh, he's under PEDs." It's disrespectful for sure. And this was the side of an audience. But I also understand when the audience feels less of themselves when they go on Instagram or when they go on social media and see people doing incredible things and they basically think that they are not up to par. It even happens to me sometimes. Sometimes I go to Instagram and I see someone benching 250 and it's insane to me to see something like that. But my first instinct is never to say, "Oh, he must be under drugs." It is not. There are crazy people out there that are crazy strong people out there, and they are really gifted when it comes to these things. So my opinion is to never immediately blame someone and undermine their success. First, focus on yourself, do the education, study your material, and talk to people, get a lot of experience in this field, and then you can perhaps discuss these things and discuss its advantages and disadvantages. But the other perspective is people that have a larger audience, and I'm going to give the example of Liver King in this scenario. As someone who is experienced in this field, when I saw him, when I watched his videos, I immediately knew it was pretty obvious to me. But the fact that he said, "Oh no, I'm not using it," for me, I said, "Yeah, of course you're not." But for other people that have less information and less experience in this field, and let's say you can also say, "Oh, but now we have the internet and there's so much information you can study and you can access everything," but it is not true. With the information that you're accessing on the internet, you're accessing so much misinformation as well that people don't know what to believe in. And there are not so many accessible sources. And when people that have a large audience says that I'm not using it, even though they are not saying it because of sponsorship reasons, because of money reasons, because of the fear of losing your audience. But when you go in a route and say, "Oh, I'm not doing this," you're actually misguiding a lot of people. As a person, as an experienced person, I can immediately know that you're lying, but someone who is not that experienced, someone who is just starting, is not going to be able to tell and take your word for what it is. Because they want to trust you. They want to trust the personality that they're watching because they want to be like you. They're inspired by you. And when you misguide them in such a way and sell them bullshit products that have nothing to do with where you are right now, it's it's unethical. It's a disgusting thing to do. And that's part of the bigger problem nowadays we're facing. So for both sides, I feel like the audience should do everything in their power to access correct materials, talk to the right people, educate themselves better, and not follow people that are clowning. And from the audience standpoint, again, we have to make the correct people famous. That's what I believe in. And from people that have an inspiration, like people that inspire other people, from that standpoint, I feel like they have a shared responsibility to the community that they're earning their money over by selling them products and by selling them, like, basically products, yes. And these people should also acknowledge the fact that they have a responsibility towards the community that they're working with and be transparent about things. Some people share their doses. Some people say, oh, yeah, I am using it, but I'm using really minimal doses. Yeah, no, you're not. You're again lying to people and selling them wrong ideas because people say, oh, even with minimal doses, you can achieve this then. And that's even worse than saying I'm not using it because you're misguiding, you're playing with people's health. You're playing with people's mental health as well, not just physical health, but mental health as well. So I feel like we all should do our shared responsibility and make this community better because we are not progressing so much since we're just talking and talking and talking about the same topics with no advancements whatsoever. So if you're a person that has an influence over people, you have to be transparent. You have to talk about the negatives, the positives, and everything about this so you don't misguide people. And from an audience standpoint, we all have to do our study ourselves. We have to inform ourselves better before we make judgments about other people. So we don't go blindly following other people without knowing what they're actually doing. So this will be the end of my rant. Tell me what you think in the comments and we can keep the discussion going. I'm certainly not saying that I'm against the use of PEDs and I see people that use it lesser. I have huge respect over people that are using this in their professional lives because it requires, as I said, a lot of sacrifice. But also from a community standpoint, from a shared responsibility standpoint, that everyone has to be transparent about what they're doing. And people like that, I have a lot of respect to. And from an audience standpoint, we should stop undermining people's achievements and show respect to each other, but also inform ourselves better and study much better. So, this was the end of Gym Rants 2. See you in episode 3. It's probably going to be a bit more, less of a sensitive topic than this. But thank you for watching and see you again.